So Norwegian forces, naval forces around Oslo was weak. However, they did have some decent armed and prepared land forces. Norway had 7 divisions, and counting numerically, the 1st Infantry Division was stationed in Halden in southeast of Oslo, along the Swedish border, and there those troops um, would be in strong position to defend any landing along the eastern side of the Oslo fjord along the Swedish border. So they were well stationed and they were comparatively well fitted for defense. The 2nd Infantry Division was stationed in Oslo and around the Oslo fjord area in order to defend the royal palace and to defend the urban interests and military, um, the barracks and airfields in the greater Oslo area, including in Drammen, just several dozen miles, a few dozen miles to Oslo southwest. The 3rd Norwegian Infantry Division was located in the south in the city of Kristiansand, which was a small town uh, located at very easy access for German forces to land. And there was an air base there that could be of use to uh, German invaders, and so the 3rd Infantry Division's goal was simply to defend that. The 4th Norwegian Infantry Division was stationed in Stavanger city towards the western side, and its role was to defend the port and the air base in Stavanger. And then the 5th Infantry Division was stationed further up in the city of Bergen, which was the 2nd largest city in Norway. And this force would uh, aim to defend the urban area of Bergen as well as the smaller but existent airfield located in the city of Bergen. Um, the British were very interested in protecting the port of Bergen, but they were eventually unable to do so. The 6th Infantry Division was further north, up in the city of Trondheim, and the 6th Norwegian Infantry Division was slightly less prepared as it wasn't equipped with the right forces. It had fewer artillery than some of the other units. Actually, that was true for the 4th, 5th, and 6th Infantry Divisions. They were behind on artillery equipment. The Norwegian 6th Infantry Division defended the airbase in Trondheim as well as the port of Trondheim to any invaders' interest in it. They also had small detachments in the forms of battalions located further south than Trondheim, along cities like Lillehammer and Hamar, along the interior of Norway. Finally, the 7th Infantry Division was mountain prepared, and this was probably the best equipped unit in the Norwegian army. The 7th Infantry Division was located far in the north near the cities of Narvik and Bodo and Mo i Rana, as well as defending areas of interest in Finnmark, close to the areas of war during the Winter War. And this division was mobilized and properly trained um, during the Soviet aggression in Finland in preparation for any possible need for intervention in the case of Soviet attack in Norwegian Finnmark. This was never the case, and the 7th Infantry Division, while well prepared, was never needed for any offensive or defensive operations during the Winter War. However, this meant that this force was well prepared for an attack on the town of Narvik. Now, the Germans managed in no more than 4 hours and 45 minutes to secure its interest in Denmark. It launched an attack with just 2 divisions from Flensburg and attacked along um, the mainland, across southern Jutland, and captured towns like Abenra, and hadn't gone close, only around halfway to Esbjerg by the time the other marine forces of the German army was able to land in Copenhagen and secure the Star Fortress, which I visited 2 summers ago, and was able to force the Danish royalty to surrender the country to Germany to avoid further escalation and further casualties. The Danish armed forces, made up of only 1 division in Jutland and 1 division in Zealand, surrendered and decided to offer no more resistance afterwards. So at that point, the Germans had fully secured the country of Denmark, although the Danish interests in the Faroe Islands, Iceland, and Greenland were quickly occupied by were quickly defended by the other Danish troops there, and eventually the British would themselves land forces in the Faroe Islands, and eventually Greenland and Iceland on May 10th, 1940, same day that Churchill gained power and France was invaded in earnest. Now, with mainland Denmark secured, the Germans were able to launch paratrooper attacks from Aalborg base to land in southern Norway, including in Kristiansand, which had now been secured by landed forces there. And then the Germans now had to secure the land interests in the major key cities, most notably of which is Oslo, where its seat of government is, its greatest population center is located, and its greatest industrial area is located. And once Oslo was secured, the Germans hoped that the Norwegian government would surrender the same way that the Danish government had, that the whole country would lay down its arms and would no longer resist. And unfortunately for the Germans, that would not be the case yet, because the Norwegians maintained its defense in Oslo, as it did in its attempt at defense across Stavanger, Kristiansand, Bergen, Trondheim, and Narvik. So I'm going to leave that for a part 2, where I'm going to film that. I'm going to talk about that in a different setting. But right now, I had an enjoyable time talking about this story so far. I knew I couldn't finish this in one bit, but I talked about just about the necessary background information to the German invasion of Denmark and Norway, and the first day of the operation as well. Skimmed over a lot of the naval details because I thought that'd be a little less interesting, and I'm personally less knowledgeable on the naval aspect of most of the conflict in Western Europe. So I might talk about that at a later date, maybe in a couple years. But for now, I talked about the preceding events and the day of the first day of the German invasion of Denmark and Norway, April 9th, 1940. The first day of Operation Weserübung. So next time we'll talk about more. I might make this 3 parts. This being the first, second being the first few days of the invasion, securing the interests on the Norwegian mainland, the majority part of it, and third episode just talking about what happened after the main action, after Trondheim was secured, the march up north from Trondheim through Mo i Rana, through all of the mountains up towards Narvik, as well as the final battles and Allied evacuations from Narvik, uh, eventually ending on June 10th, 1940, the same day as the Italian entry into the French campaign. So I want to talk about that as a third episode, and it's possible that I split that third episode into two as well. But as of now, this is what I talked about today. I'll upload another YouTube video to Pacificus mapping about the second part of the invasion of Norway. And in the meantime, I might make a video about a completely different part of World War II or a diplomatic event. I'm considering making a video about the diplomatic repercussions of the Anschluss, including impact on German-Italian relations and German-Japanese relations. And it could be interesting to talk about reactions from Yugoslavia, Hungary, and Czechoslovakia as well. So I might make a video on the international relations aspect of the German annexation of Austria in 1938, excluding the Western Allies, Britain, France, and by extension, Belgium and the United States. So I might talk about that at a later date, but today I had a good time. I haven't done this in a few weeks, so very happy about it. I'm going to upload new videos later.